What's up, family? Welcome to Church, Mind and Matter. I'm Tay. I bring the church.
I'm Aaron. I bring the mind.
He sometimes matter, but you always matter.
That's how we start off?
That's how we start. It's always, that whole light skin versus brown skin thing. It's a thing. I just don't know it. So what is up? We are live from Amplify Studios. Shout out to Amplify Network. You are watching Church, Mind and Matter. Disclaimer, first and foremost, none of us have the answer. None of us claim that we have what we say is canon or gospel. We are just brothers of Christ looking for a higher place of enlightenment. What we try to do, we take issues that affects you in your everyday life, put a little Jesus into it, and somehow come to a higher place of understanding. Cool?
Cool.
Sound good? Awesome. And before we go any further, I would ask, I would beg, I would plead that you like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe in that order, depending on what you're watching on. Because right now, if you're watching, we are live not only on Facebook, not only on YouTube, but we are also live on Instagram. So all you gotta do to watch us on all three platforms is put either Watch Amplify Network or simply Amplify Network. Church Mind and Matter will come up, and now you're in the discussion. If you have any comments or questions, concerns, you just want to say something, feel free. This is an interactive activity we're doing. What do you call it? Holy conferencing. So if you have any comments, as long as you say them in a respectful fashion, we will honor, we will give you praise, and we will shout you out. Cool?
Absolutely.
All right, we got that out the way. So, topic of today is what? Snitching. So I'm sure if you've seen Shade Room, what's that other Star Hit? What's that called? Rockstar Hit. I don't know what it's called. Look, I'm young, but
can't read your mind, man.
Right. World Star, World Star, Shade Room, whatever social media platform. I'm sure you heard of what's his Tekashi 6ix9ine, or what they call him, Snitch 9.
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
6ix9ine, Rainbow Hair Boy.
Yes.
Shout out. He's in a whole lot of mess because he got caught. I believe it was like gun charges, racketeering charges. I think he put a hit out on Chief Keef. Before that, people don't really know, went under the rug, the whole sex with a minor or activity with a minor. People don't really talk about that too much. That's neither here or there. It's here. Just a whole lot of things. I mean, he was about to eat about 70 years jail
75
time.
minimum.
Yeah, 75.
47 minimum.
47
minimum.
75 maximum.
Yeah.
So when he heard that, he came to, I guess, his senses, and he just started ratting out everybody. He put up names like Jim Jones, Cardi B, other people who I don't know, but I'm sure you might do if you follow that stuff. So the question is, we see him in his situation and how it's kind of magnified. We see all the memes that came out, how he, he's telling on Big Bird, everything, right? So, but that lends itself to a bigger question. What is it, not only in community as a whole, not only in society as a whole, but in the Christian community, what's our stance on snitching, on cheating, right? The closest person I can think of is Judas. Judas, and Jesus said it'd been better if he wasn't even born.
Of course. Well, first and foremost, shout out to Kim Carr. Welcome back.
What's up?
She says,
What's up,
guys, and snitches get stitches.
Kim Carr.
Yes.
Kim Carr. Spiritual Warfare episode coming soon. Kim Carr.
That's right.
Yes. Don't worry. It's coming soon. It's in the works. Spiritual Warfare.
And can we just give a shout out to my boy Danny who's watching? I noticed he was watching the well.
Yes.
I missed giving him a shout out
Awesome.
then, so I just want to give him a shout out since he's watching this evening.
Absolutely. So,
I can do that.
We're professionals. It's third season, man. Come on. Step your game
It's
up.
not even a year yet.
You deserve that from him, though. You deserve that from him.
All right.
Okay.
I already got to deal with him.
I'm just saying.
I don't need it from both sides.
You started it earlier on in the
If
episode.
Kim was here, she would have my back. Anyway,
Yeah.
family,
Absolutely.
how we doing?
Absolutely.
Hey, JoJo.
What's up, Joe?
But what I was saying is, there's a fine line between telling on people on things that need to be told.
Right.
If there's abuse in the church, if there's a major life-changing incident, if something's trying to be covered up that impacts people, and being untruthful is not only illegal but it's also harming to the church as a whole, I feel like not telling would lead to, and it comes out, it leads to distrust, it leads to fracturing, it leads to pulling the church apart.
Yeah.
With that said, sometimes there's dirt in people's lives. There's things in people's past life that they can't do anything about. So if you walk up to somebody and be like, hey, well, Pastor Tay used to do X, Y, and Z, I feel like in that situation, now you're just bringing shade into the church. You're trying to bring somebody down for something that, that they're trying to move away from, that they're trying to walk away from. We all have difficult past. We all have things in our life that it would be embarrassing for us to come out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're trying to use that as a way of either making yourself look better or trying to bring the other person down and not necessarily needs to be brought up, then you gotta keep it to yourself.
Yes. I guess, and I'm totally with you on what you're saying. My thing is, if a cop kills a person, it's all over news, and you tell everybody, and I'm videotaping it. That's not snitching. That's justice. We fighting against injustice. But if my homeboy does it, or somebody on the block kills somebody, and I tell, then it's snitching, and I broke some unwritten code. So it's like we have to ask ourselves, what is snitching, right? So if I kill your significant other or someone you love or your loved one, am I not meant to be brought to justice? But by street codes, you can't do that to me because that's snitching, or you have to take it in your own hands and risk further penalty, whatever that happens. You know what I mean? So it's a crazy situation to be in. And I'm just talking broad, the whole snitching movement. And I don't want to say you were too young, but you were younger. Like we were like. I mean,
that's telling your age.
No, I mean, because we're all millennials. Like you're the late, I'm the mid,
I'm the
early. So I mean, we got the whole spectrum of millennial.
I'm the late. I'm only 29. Move on. Keep moving on. Don't you snitch?
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So like, you remember when the DVD Stop Snitching came out? No. See, that's what I'm saying. You young, that's what I mean. Like, you don't remember that? So it might have been a Baltimore thing, but in Baltimore it was a DVD called Stop Snitching. Like it was back when like Smack DVDs and all the freestyle DVDs came out. It was called Stop Snitching, and it was I'm snitching right now.
Yeah.
It was like literally in Baltimore, a gang in Baltimore. I don't know if it was BGF or Blood, whoever it was. They had this whole video about how you shouldn't snitch, and like it was basically a threat and end up going to jail either way. But like. That whole mindset of snitching is wrong. We talk about how can we build our community, how can we do this, how can we do that. Well, a lot of it stems from pointing out identifying the wrong from the right. So that's where I'm at with it. Mm-hmm. Where you at?
Man, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't know. I think like it's a double standard. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a double standard across cultures, across the globe, across ethnicity. Like. It just depends, man. Like I think you bring up a valid point, and so you look at like the Roman Catholic Church, and you look at the stuff that's happening with them and their priests. It has caused a divide amongst the believers, amongst people's faith in the church. These priests were doing things for years, and it didn't come out until later in their life. But what do they say? One man's trash is another man's treasure. Not to say it like that, but like one person's closet, right, is another person's, fortune. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like there are things that are in certain people's closets that might mean more to other folks if it were in the open or if they were freed from that. That being said, I don't think everybody has to come out and and always feel like they gotta snitch on somebody.
Right.
I think sometimes it's just a matter of approaching people and saying it straight to people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we forget we did some things that we wouldn't be proud of, and when we approach those folks, it's like, well, let's not forget you haven't been always innocent of this stuff too. So I don't know. I think it's a fine line, and I think you really have to kind of like figure out. What's the best way to approach the situation?
So I also want to comment on that statement of yours too. I have 2 points. First point is, you said, like, well, you're talking about building up culture, or you're building up a community, so part of it was either, not snitching, but you also have to ask yourself, what kind of community are you trying to build?
Right.
So you can build a community where, nobody talks about anything. If I decide to rob the local convenience store, nobody says who did it, and then, after enough time, maybe the convenience store either puts bars up or shuts down completely, changes the whole community outlook. But at the same time, you could also have like that law-abiding community where, I got my neighbor's back, they got my back. If someone tries to run up on me and try to do something about it, and they tell the police who did it, and they get captured, and next thing you know, that's one less person on the streets. And if somebody tries to do some retaliation, they got me. So it really does come down to the idea of what kind of community you're trying to build here.
Well, I think it lends itself to, like, almost accountability. So it's kind of like what you say. Like, if someone, you jaywalked, I'm going to call. No, man.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But, like, when we're talking about murder, you know what I mean? When we're talking about racketeering, when we're talking about things that hurt the community as a whole, I'm not saying, like, I don't even know when, because I ain't about that life. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't really know. Like,
you can be honest. I mean,
I'm being honest. I ain't about that life. Don't do nothing around me.
Of course.
Huh?
What color is this?
I ain't no Trey 9 blood. I ain't blue. I ain't no Crip.
I ain't representing.
I ain't representing nothing. I represent the blood of Christ.
What is Kendrick Lamar say?
Byron on Instagram, he is an Amplify member.
Yeah. What's up?
From Texas.
Oh, sweet.
Shout out to
Yeah, he
Texas.
says, good discussion. I've got to go to Bible study. See y'all in the morning.
Sounds good. Well, you can still watch it. You can watch the recorded version on YouTube as well as Facebook. But
Much
thanks
love
for
to
watching.
Texas. Much love.
Shout out. I ain't know everybody in Texas. That's right. Spread the word. Shout out to Texas.
Massanutten, Texas.
I ain't know Massanutten. I know Massanutten, Virginia.
Wait, I might be saying it wrong.
Just Texas.
Correct me.
You know what, Texas?
We gonna holler.
Yeah,
we gonna talk to you.
regardless.
We got
Yeah.
you.
Also, shout out for Nicole Cameron. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you, Nicole.
Hey, Nicole.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
She's usually viewing in, and so she came. She was here for the live.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
Excellent. Excellent.
So what's up, Nicole?
And Pearl, what's going on?
Hey.
A friend of mine's girlfriend, so good to see her.
Oh,
Yeah.
Good.
So, with all these new people, don't forget, this is an interactive thing. If you have any comments, you can say more than hello. Tell us how you feel. We love to hear. We love the feedback. It just adds more to the conversation.
Yeah, be honest.
If you think he wrong, say he wrong, because you know he
follow
is.
me. No.
Huh?
No.
Anyway.
Absolutely not.
Where were we?
Well, I see Terrence is commenting. It's all too interesting because when a black person sees something and say something, it's called snitching.
Wow.
But when other cultures do it, then it's called being neighborly.
Or neighborhood watch.
Do you think this is just a black thing?
No, but that kind of goes to what I was saying about what kind of culture do you want to build? What kind of community do you want to build? It's almost like in our culture, women usually wear white for the weddings to represent purity, but in China, they wear red to represent like.
My wedding is black. So.
Hey. But that's what I'm trying to say, though. It's
That's
what is a culture you're trying to build? And so in the black culture, we kind of want to have like this. Well, we can't trust the cops because, well, let's throw it out there. Historically, cops have never really been on. Well, I wouldn't say never, but have not been on the side of the black people. So it's almost like, well, I'm not going to do anything to get you locked up. You don't do anything to get me locked up. But if I find out you did something to me, then I have a right to revenge, and ain't nobody going to interfere. So it's about the culture, I guess.
Yeah. And I guess, bringing it back to the church, the church has always been a place of, sanctuary. Like, that's supposed to be a safe place. That's supposed to be a place where you can come and put everything at the altar type of thing.
But how often do we do that?
That's a good question. Well, but even with church, I was going to save this for later in the show. But even with church, I mean, I don't want to call it snitching, but, sometimes your business is everybody's business. Church isn't always, as much as it should be, confidential in some instances. That's not all instances, and by no means am I down in any church. But that's just if that's not the reality, that's at least a stigma of church. But when we're talking about snitching in the black community, I agree with Terrence wholeheartedly. And it just goes back to accountability and what's popular now, what's been popularized now. You know what I mean? I think of, even when you think of black culture, even in the movies, like think of any movie, New Jack City. They took over a whole high rise. Ain't nobody snitched. Like, you know, like Belly. I mean, you could think of Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. It wasn't no snitching.
So, but I think it's
Friday.
tough, right? Like, I hear this whole black culture thing, and I agree there is a level of this in the black culture, but I'm gonna push it a little bit, right? Like,
Okay.
let's look at the Italian mafia. Let's look at big business gangster mobs, right? Like, let's look at Wall Street, right? Let's look at politics, right? Like, there's a level even in our government right now, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
ain't nobody really
Whistleblower
coming out
thing. Yeah.
saying too much about Trump because.
Or if they
But
do, there's
saying-
automatic pushback.
But
What
the
I'm
term of, though. Like, the term was popular. You know what I mean?
It is
That-
right, but
Black
that's what I'm
Ops, that's
saying.
what I'm saying.
I get that it's right, and so I get that. And I think I'm pushing because like it's not popular to snitch in any organization. You know what I'm saying? No matter what, black, white, Asian,
Yeah.
Hispanic, it's not popular because, and I think it's a power thing. I think it's a control thing. But I also don't want to dismiss the. And y'all know I say some things sometimes. I try to bring some truth. People might not like it, but I'm gonna speak it. Like, there's also the protection thing, right?
Yes.
Like, nobody necessarily wants to see their family member go to jail.
Elaborate,
Some
what do you
people
mean?
protection. So like you don't want to see the folks you love,
I got
right? Like go down in flames. And so there are times when we know somebody did something wrong, but it's like I don't really want. Let's try and work this out at home. Let's not make this a bigger spectacle or a bigger deal, right? So let's try to make sure that we're covering the footsteps. So we're going to protect the person, and so we don't snitch because ultimately we're trying to protect. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And is that right? Is it wrong? I'm not going to comment on that totally. I'm just saying those are to me some of the reasons why it's done or not done.
Yeah.
So we have a comment from Kim Carr again, referring to when you were talking about topics.
Church.
Yes, snitching inside of the church.
Say, yep.
She said, "Yep, called gossiping. Absolutely correct. Revealing information should be for truth and not harm. Be careful of the intention." So I think that's actually an interesting point. We should kind of elaborate. So when in the church, I suppose, is it okay to approach somebody about a private matter? You know, if somebody came to you in confidence about something, I mean, is it never?
No, I mean, even, scripture says, when you see someone wronged you, you tell them. They don't believe it, you get another brother.
Yeah.
You tell them together, they don't believe it, then you take it to the church.
I got you.
So, I mean, it's that type of thing. It's definitely that structure. I think that's a great way of being. But also, when we're talking about scripture as opposed to I guess snitching or telling or what have you, even my wristband, Colossians 3, keep your mind on heavenly things, not on earth. I think what is it? Proverbs it says wise men stay, like, as far as watching the company you keep, what I mean?
Or another thing, I believe it's in Job, the tongue may be silver, but silence is golden.
Correct. So, it's that type. James, you mean be quick to hear and short
Slow
to
to speak.
slow to speak. Yeah. So, I mean, those type of things are the guidelines or the jewels that scripture gives us, should help us so we're not in that situation where we have to snitch on such and such, or be in that situation where now we're compromised between what we feel is right in our hearts and then what is right culturally or society norms, or what I mean, because you really do have that those two different sects that are clashing right now. Because I mean, you can say whatever you want, and I get some of the memes are funny about snitch line. Let me say something. I wouldn't been in there a day. I'm rolling on everybody. You ain't if you got a ticket, I'm snitching. So, you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, if that's where we're taking it, you know what I mean? People want to be with it. And he brought that on himself, you know what I mean? Trying to be what you're
A lot
not.
of life choices.
So, it's that type of thing. But, to snitch, to say that, oh man, you ain't nothing because you snitched. It's like you say, what was your intention? What is it? Why did you snitch?
I mean, what's I heard Snoop Dogg kind of came out and started kind of tweeting some things saying, like Tekashi was a snitch, but what's the girl who he works with on the cooking show?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Martha Stewart.
Martha Stewart. He was like,
Yeah,
Martha
he ate the
Stewart.
whole charge.
He was like, Martha Stewart ain't no snitch, but Tekashi, you are. Like,
Man,
I mean,
Tekashi wish he was at her jail.
Yeah.
Tekashi like in
There
Rutgers or
is
something.
a bit of difference, yeah.
Yeah, so it's that type of thing. Who else? But even Everybody was like, why Jim Jones? You know, you got him on recording talking about he need to get violated. I think, what was it, 50 put out on Instagram that Jim Jones is actually a informant against Tekashi 6ix9ine, and that's why he didn't get pulled up on any charge. I'm like,
It's crazy.
so everybody's, you know, you know what I mean? Everybody acting like they're hard, they this and that, and like, you know, everybody just doing the same. Everybody just trying to make it, trying to be.
Well, and it's crazy because like even the reason why he got into the game, right, was we've understood that it's for the promotion,
Right.
marketing of his stuff, right? Like being attached to something that has power. Ultimately, you do it because you want to earn power.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why reportedly he even got involved in the first place. You know, so one of the questions is like, you know, how far is too far when you're trying to achieve a level of greatness or success or power? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you get involved just for that reason? You know, like.
That's a good question.
That's a life moral question.
Right.
That's a question you gotta ask yourself in the 2 a.m. in the morning.
Right. I mean, I think you have to ask yourself who you are and are you comfortable with the person you are? Because if you're comfortable with who you are and you're comfortable with who you are on the inside and what you're portraying, then it shouldn't matter who's with you because people will follow genuineness. Like if I'm genuine as a person, people will follow and attract to that. If I'm being fake, if I'm trying to please everybody, you'll please nobody at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And you're living wrong for yourself. I mean, when he had the rainbow hair, he had to have some kind of clout. Like to have rainbow hair and then be hard, like, you know, just the optics. I'm saying the optics of his whole.
But the generations have changed, right? Like, you know, it's almost like we've come. I was telling somebody the other day, when you look at videos from like the '60s, back when Earth, Wind and Fire, back when James Brown,
wow,
right?
yeah.
Like back when Prince came out, right? Like that was, you know, Jerry curls and flat irons and
chaps.
and men were wearing heels. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the thing. Platform shoes.
Yeah,
you know what
Prince
I'm
was
saying?
like 5 even.
Yeah.
He had some
So,
stilettos.
You know, like that was the thing, yo. Like, pink, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's always kind of crazy. Anyway, to talk on a side note, but at the same time, like it's always crazy to me when like people going on the artists today that are wearing like was it Lil Baby or like whoever, like when they wear the flashy
Young Thug?
Young Thug,
Yeah.
like, and then wear like these dress looking things,
Yeah.
and people are like, oh, that's so you know
ASAP.
feminine or so flamboyant. But I'm like, yo, and when y'all was kids, like Prince, Earth, Wind and Fires, you know, even Stevie Wonder, like these
Queen.
folks had on like.
Y'all was listening to Boy George, like.
I'm like, what do you mean?
Boy
Like,
George, do you really want to hurt me?
You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z said it best. He's like, y'all get mad at the folks with the nose rings, but even Pop had a nose ring. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I mean, you got something?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So Terrence also says, I agree, Kim. I think the snitching issue has a lot to do with telling on someone that you can get out. To do with telling on someone so that you can get out of trouble. Intentions matter. So.
Very true. Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Where were we at? Oh yeah. So for me, it's about just being true to self.
Of
You know what I
course.
mean?
Yeah.
You a part of the show too. You want to answer the question?
I kind of lost track of the question after a while. We ended up talking about Prince and nose rings after a while.
I think the question was like, do you become a part? You know, how far is going too far to become a part of something to get to?
Well, at the end of the day, if what you're trying to be a part of is truly who you are, kind of reflecting on what Tayron said, then by all means go all in. But at the same time, if you are divesting so much of yourself into something that you become something that you're not, just because you're chasing after something, even if it's something you want, that isn't you. You know, like you said, at the end of the day, you got to be true to yourself. You got to be true in who you are. You got to be comfortable with who you are. You got to have everything in the world, but if you're not okay with who you are, you might end up like Anthony Bourdain or something like that. You know, it doesn't really matter what it is that you chase. It just matters that if you are okay with who you are at the end of the day. So I do believe that there's such a thing as going too far and chasing after something.
I think you have to have a good set of morals and standards.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta like kind of know, like you say, you gotta know yourself, and you kind of know what do I stand for and what won't I stand for. You know,
Of course.
I think because I mean, if not, you can get caught up in all types of systems. Even the
Yes.
church has a system.
Of
You know what I'm
course.
saying? And you kind of gotta when you come into that system, if you don't know who you are, you know, in theater they used to have this thing. It's better for folks who come in and they're really big it's easier to size them down than for folks who come in that are very, very, very unsure of who they are on the stage, because then you got to work extra hard to make it get bigger, right? They say if you come out, be big. I think it's the same way when you go into these things, right? Like when you come in and you got some sense of like where you're going, who you are, it's better to sort of chip things away and sort of sculpt that. But then when you come in and don't have any clue,
you got more clay to work with.
You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta start from the scratch and kind of build up, which can be a lot harder.
Yes.
But those are also the folks that are easier to influence and easier to what's the word I want to look for when I change somebody's mind or change the way they manipulate. They're easy to manipulate. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's the problem. Right? Like if I come in, I'm looking for glory. I think a lot of the artists who come in, I like that. I'm looking to get up to the top. I want to be. So you come in and you're working with somebody who's already made it, somebody who's got some money. You know, as a matter of fact, I was talking about this the other day at the studio with a local celebrity actually, and he was saying, you know, when artists come in and they don't have, they can be like they come in raw, but they're just hungry for that money. It's easy to sort of sway them, right? So you come in, you're a female rapper, and you want to be on the charts. And somebody said, all right, well, take your bra off in this video, you know, or, you know what I'm saying, take your panties off in this video. Like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm going to do it because I'm trying to get to where you are trying to take me with your money and with your influence, and all I see is the dollars, and I see exactly what I'm chasing. As opposed to, no. I got to let you go. I will find someone else because my talent is that good. Yeah. Right? And so I think people sometimes just don't have that respect and those moral standards. So they get involved like Tekashi did from the beginning.
Of course. Yeah. But I like what you said, especially like anything is a system, including a church. You know, so even in the church system, I feel like some people come into a church and they have to put on that persona, you know, like, you know, they put on something that they're not. But even in that regard, it's almost like an affront because, you know, God wants us to be truthful and be honest about who we are on the inside. So to come in and try to put on that persona, like you said, to be that thing that you're not is almost like, well, I'm just putting on an act. You know, genuineness is key. Sincerity is key. Yeah. So, and it just jives well with a person's life better. I feel like if you don't have to pretend to be something you're not just to get through the day, your life must be infinitely easier. It's easier to be just who you are than someone else. Yeah.
But I would say also with church, to me anyway, in my context, church helps you find who you are.
Yeah, I agree.
A good church,
yes.
Yeah, a good church can help you find who you are. I mean, you know, who I was before I really took God serious and who I am now, two different people. I even think of, even when I got my calling to ministry, you know, I try to emulate what I saw. And that's not, anybody seen me preach or know how I saw, I am not a shouter. Like, I can get up there and I come right back down. I don't, that's not who I am. Yeah. Like, I can, okay. So, you know what I mean? But that took time and just knowing who you are as a person, knowing who you are as a speaker, as a pastor. But, you know, you can take that example and put that in life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, certain situations mold who you are. And the question is, do you take what that is? Like, do you take those situations and grow from it and be secure in who you are? Or do you try to be like lottie-dottie and everybody? Because that's going to get you a charge. And
of course.
Let me just say, maybe that is who Tekashi 6ix9ine is. Maybe that is, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that he's better than what he's shown. But if that's who you are, that's who you are. But, you know what I mean? The optics ain't in that fate. For me, doesn't go to that.
You can always live your life, but you also have to live your consequence too.
Yeah.
You know, if I work out every day, I get buff. That's a consequence of me working out every day. If you want to go out and you want to bang whatever, and you get caught, you got to face the consequences of that too. It's just life.
Yeah.
You know, well, it's hard though it's hard to be who you truly are to walk in your truth sometimes. I mean, I know even myself with the church, I've had my own struggles with that, right? Like living into being fully who you are. You know, for a long time in the church, you were forced to hide, like just being real.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. You couldn't be on a show like this and talk openly about sexual situations. You couldn't talk about. You couldn't admit that you listen to secular music. You know
but even still, like, I don't mean to talk for you, but I think even we both can say, I've lost opportunities just because of the way I look. Because I have tattoos and I refuse this to roll down, or Like, I've lost opportunities. I've gained a lot of opportunities, but I've lost plenty of opportunities just on me being who I am. Because I can't be nothing else.
Yeah. And I think around the board, right? Like, I think, and I think that's something that we don't have a hold on, like, just because we're black, or because, like, because easily I could say because we're black, all of us, because we've got facial hair, or because we've got locks, right?
I want facial hair.
I like
Yeah,
that.
you're struggling. But it's also
I got locks.
females, right? Like, females have gone through a struggle in this country, right?
Of course.
Definitely,
To try to be, to try to get equal pay, to try to have equal rights. The LGBTQ community has had to hide who they were for years, which is why you get, folks who are marrying women or marrying men, and yet they're not attracted, or that's not their first goal.
Yeah.
You have people who, it's just all the way around the board that folks have felt like they can't live into who they really are. And I think in those times it's tough because you have to make a decision. Do I live in who I really want to be or am, or do I push that down and chase after what I'm really trying to chase after? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Thank God for the folks who did it.
Right.
Because we sit here because it's a lot of those folks.
Mm-hmm.
But that's tough, right? Like, do I live in who I am? Because we can say that a lot stronger now. Gay folks, black folks, women, people of color, we can say that a lot better, more stronger now. Oh, be who you're supposed to be, or be who you are, better than the people who were before, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's a hard place of, like, I can say most of us probably understand that struggle of folks who are trying to get somewhere, who feel like they got to join something. You know what I'm saying? I'm not justifying it totally. I'm just saying, let's not move past trying to understand it to some degree.
I mean, there is strength in numbers. But I don't, well, I'm going to come off sounding really hypocritical, or I don't know how I'm going to sound. I'm going to say, so, like, I hear your point. I would say there's a difference between someone being LGBTQ and wanting that place of comfort and joining an organization that's LGBTQ, and then a rapper who's looking for street cred, so I'm going to join this gang so I can get some street cred. You know, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, if you were talking about, like, just a 6ix9ine piece, that's where I would push. Now, if you're talking about just knowing who you are and that place of comfort, I would say yes. I would say that's why a lot of people go to church. I mean, that's one of the founding reasons you would go to church. But I would also say one of the reasons people don't go to church is because they find other communities that help them more than the church has in recent years. That's sad to say, but that's the case.
So you saying that people don't join the gang for the same reason?
I don't think Tekashi did. I'm saying there's a difference between joining a gang or joining something. Like, there's a difference between me joining church because I want to be with like-minded people, or me joining church so that I can get a letter written so I can
I see what you're
give it to my probation officer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But it happens every day.
It does.
Yeah.
And I'm of the mindset of however I can get you in, and let the Holy Spirit convict. But even still, I'm just saying there's a difference between going to church for that community and going to church so I can get this bill paid, and I probably won't come back until the light bills due. You know, like there's just a difference. Either way, the church is there to help both sides. Don't get me wrong, but there's just attention matter. You know what I mean? Your intention matters. So that's kind of where I am with that. It's just it's a weird thing to push on. You know what I mean? Because then you're not talking about snitching like we led with the show. You're really talking about something deeper than just she did this. You know what I mean? But getting to that and getting to what Miss Kim was talking about, gossip. This is a Christian show.
Of course.
Gossiping in the church. I guess holy snitching. Holy snitching, gossiping. How much does that, you think, that affects the church, or how much of a detriment is it? Or is it needed? Both. That's a both end. Whoever wants to go.
I feel like I stepped out of line. You should go first.
What? No. You talked before you thought of.
I did.
Do we think that gossip is a detriment to the church?
Mm-hmm.
I think it can be. I don't know, man. Like I try to look at stuff very open-mindedly. folks who are really conservative, you probably hate me in this segment, but I don't know. Some of y'all liberals might hate me too. I play the fence sometimes. I think gossip is not always a bad thing. Let me say that first of all. I think a lot of things get a bad name, and I don't know that they always are. I mean, so if the priest or the pastor or the people in charge are stealing money, I mean, if the word is going around, then that gossip might just help us to know why the church is broke.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we ain't paying no bills. Sometimes, passing information can get deemed as gossip, but passing information is not always gossip. It's just passing information, and it's important to pass the information. On the other hand, if the pastor's having marital problems, or if Susie and John are having an affair, man, I don't think you should be gossiping around the church. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not something that is going to help anybody to know. Yeah. So I think we have to be careful what we deem gossip, and how we receive what's shared with us.
All right. So Kim says it's part of spiritual warfare, and gossip is absolutely detrimental. And I agree. I'm kind of like with you on that one on straddling the fence. I feel like gossip puts attention where it's unnecessary, but it's still attention sometimes. And sometimes if something comes to light, like a family's in need or some situation like that shouldn't get out, sometimes, yeah, it's still unnecessary attention on someone else's problem, but that might spur the right action. Sometimes the wrong situation may spur a right action. Like, okay, maybe on the low, we're going to have a private get-together and get money together to help the family out. Mm-hmm. But all too often, I feel like people use gossip to kind of shine a light on other people's misdeeds and their shortcomings to bring people down. Now, that type of situation, it is completely detrimental. I mean, I feel like churches have ended over gossip, to be quite honest. We have another comment from Teresa Davis. Thank you for joining us.
Hey.
I agree when you say intention matters. Gossiping in the church is just like the streets, and being in a circle, just watch and who you say it to. It makes sense. You can't tell everybody all your business.
Very true, very
But
true.
the point I also wanted to raise is, what do you feel about snitching on yourself? Like, is there a... No, seriously. It's a good question. Sometimes...
Dry snitching. You ain't even mean
Yo. I mean, we always assume someone's talking to them. What about if you talk on yourself? What situation do you ever feel like it's appropriate not to tell, like, the church what's going on in your life? Or what situation do you feel like you shouldn't snitch on yourself? What situation do you feel like you do need to say? Yeah.
Wow. So that goes back to what she said. Just watch who you say it to.
Yeah.
Miss Davis... so if I'm with my pastor, if I'm with, I guess, an elder, someone who I feel comfortable with, you know what I mean? I can say I'm blessed to have several spiritual mentors who I can just go to and really, I'm happy to say that I have spiritual brothers, 2 of them right beside me most days. You know what I mean? That I can share. Stay where you was. Y'all keep that same energy. Y'all keep cut.
Edit.
Right. But I mean, it really is about having that trust and having that love, that spiritual connection with one another. You know what I mean? I mean, God speaks of us being in connection with one another. You know what I mean? If you can't speak to your brethren, who can you speak to? But I think it is like about making sure you know who you can talk to, having that trust to know that if I say something, you know what I mean, when I do get that feedback, you know what I mean, I get that godly feedback, speaking and being with like-minded people. So like a blood ain't gonna go to a group of Crips and like, oh, what I'm gonna do, you know what I mean? like it's just not gonna happen. So you know what I mean. If I'm a man of God, I'm gonna go to other men and women of God to see me through. You know what I mean? And for me, that's really one of my spiritual gifts. I feel like I see discernment from others. Like I take information as God sent. You know what I mean? I never had like a voice in my head was like, go left. Like it was always Aaron or you know what I mean? It's always somebody in my life who always told me.
Yeah,
I see God in other people. So.
Yeah, I like the way Teresa followed up on what I said, because it really puts a lot of stuff in perspective. Like I'm just sitting here thinking, right? Like amongst my group of closest peers and friends, is the fam, as I call them, right? Like people come to me all the time, right? Like they're always like, Mo, like, do you know what blah blah is doing on? Look, I ain't supposed to tell nobody, but
Yeah.
and sometimes I'm grateful that they come to me with that, right? Because, but they also, I have built a rapport with people that I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go and just run and tell everybody, right? Like I might talk to one or two people, but those people are people that I feel like I can talk things through. They're selected people that I can talk things through and then go back to the situation if there's a need for me to go back. Sometimes I might not even need to tell a person I know.
Of course.
But I think not everybody's like that. So for me, I'm much more guarded about who I share information with. This is what I am. I am smart enough to know that if I've shared it, there's always a possibility for it to be shared outside of who I shared it with. There's always, and I keep that in the back of my mind so that it just doesn't ever catch me off guard if I hear something I've shared with somebody better. Even though I don't want it to go all the way sometimes, I'm still careful about who I share it with. I think you have to be careful who you share the information with. So when it comes to my closest friends, right, I am careful. I think some people, though, have to train themselves that way, right? Like, because there's always a chance it's going to get out if you share it, period. But you can't just be running to anybody because sometimes that person who you think has your best interest, wolf in sheep's clothing, don't got your best interest, and they're going to go back and they're going to tell somebody. So I think you have to be careful who you share your information with.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And how you share that information. And just know that if I shared it, period, and I think it goes back to kind of tie back to the whole spiritual place of, that's why I think you have to have a strong relationship with Jesus. Some of us are kind of like, well, Jesus ain't flesh, so I don't feel the same. But listen, I talk to God faithfully. I get up in the mornings and I go to bed at night, and it's the first person and the last person that I talk to. Anything else outside of that, I have to be comfortable enough. With Jesus, I've got to be comfortable enough in my faith to know you're a real being.
Wow. Yeah.
And so when I'm sharing it with you, knowing that you already know it, but we can have a conversation, and that can be okay. I don't have to go and share it with someone else who has this flesh that I have. I can share it with Jesus and be confident in going, I've shared it. You know what I'm saying? But that takes a lot of faith. So,
it does. But I mean, I guess that lends itself to like as I was saying before, knowing who you are. If you know who you are, you know whose you are in a Christian sense. Like if I know I'm a child of God, I know that He's a sovereign God. You know what I mean? He's with me anyway. But the fact that He hears when I speak, I think that's that type of thing. But do you think it's a stigma that has to be changed? Or do you think it's just a problem that has to be solved? Or is it a mixture of the two? Like as far as gossiping in the church, do you think it's an actual tangible problem you can fix, or is it just stigma and it does happen but not as much as society deems it to be?
I say all things in moderation, all things with training, because there are certain issues in the church that do need to be addressed. If there is like abuse going on in the church, or if there is a scandal of some proportion, the church is not just the pastor and everybody else. The church is everybody, right?
Yeah.
So we all have equal parts in it, all equal co-inheritors of the throne,
Yeah.
So in that sense, there are things that need to be discussed. There are things that, let's call it for what it is gossip or snitching. And if it can be used as a way of uplifting everybody or changing the status of the culture to make it a better place, a more inclusive place, a more welcoming place to grow God in the church, then by all means. But too often we're switching gears on people and we're using it as a way of, well, Sister Sandy did this with Brother James, and it's like, it's almost like we're looking for
Brother James.
Yeah, Brother James. So, brother. But anyway, but I'm just saying,
what they was doing.
We just trying to make it as a form of like late night
James.
TV. Brother James got it on. Forgive anybody out there whose name is Brother James.
Oh, Sandy.
I did not mean it. But anyway, I'm just
what about Sandy? She y'all bad. Forgive Brother James, but Sandy.
But the point I'm trying to make is too often it's for sensationalism. Too often we're looking for a daytime TV show inside a Sunday morning at the church.
Definitely.
And we can't have that. You know,
Yeah.
we are all people. We all got dirt. We all got skeletons in the closet. Look, we'll have a whole interview at one point of talking about what the things I've done in my life. But anyway, but I'm just saying.
About 5 minutes.
This is your co-host? No, I'm just
yeah. But anyway, we have a comment from Teresa. First of all,
Yes.
thank you for saying amen. Teresa Davis says, nope, no sharing. It's private when that person comes to you. It's private. Then you should pray and tell it to God. Sorry, I lost my place. I like your response. It's awesome. Yes, gossip is a problem. We need to just come together. Okay. To James. Okay.
Yo, listen, can I ask this question?
Yes.
Because here's I guess I got this underlying issue with the church, even, and I mean the system of church.
Yeah.
Because we are the church, right? I just get this thing because I don't feel like this. Just like the world has had to come to grips with folks being living in the truth.
Yes.
I think the church still struggles with that.
Of course.
Right? And I think this is where I have this struggle with like gossiping, because gossip is done for so many different reasons. But a lot of times it's done because you don't like what someone else is doing, and so it's your way of strongholding a group of folks over another group of individuals. Whether it's the older folks talking about the younger folks, so we keep them at a certain level, right? Whether it's certain women gossiping about other women because they don't like the way they've done certain things, right? And so we get into this thing, but I think sometimes it's just our culture, like we won't accept other people's realities. And so because we're not accepting of other people's realities and truths, that's our way of moving them away from our circle, or moving them away from our I don't know, our thoughts, or our way of life. Like, it's a separation technique.
Yeah.
And I think we have to be careful, because I think, though, part of the problem is that sometimes established places, church, governments, whatever, they almost allow that to be founded by their culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it becomes this thing of, well, we're not letting, that's not what you're supposed to wear. That's not how we want. That's not who we receive. That's not who. And so people gossip about what the culture doesn't.
But also, it's like what you say. It's like you say the church has a problem with accepting people who live in their truth. Well, what is your truth, and what if your truth isn't mine? So I think that's where the pushback is. I think like a certain, and I mean on both sides, no matter where you fall on the spectrum of being liberal, conservative, moderate, whatever, right? If I'm one way and I see churches that are another way, my mindset is that all churches are that way. If I'm this way and all I see is that from a church, I think all churches are that way. And the fact of the matter is, there's a whole we just talked about Elevationist Church where they praise marijuana. Like there is a church that fits your theological needs. There is a church that fits your elevated church. Like there is a place. There is a place where you can worship and serve God. In God's name. Like there is a place that you can worship. I think the average, not even the average, like the modest or the novice, the new believer, it's hard because your comfortability can only take so much.
Yeah.
So if the first time you take that leap and that water's too deep, like nah, or if that water's too cold or it's too hot, it's like, well, that's how the water just is. But if you just wait 2 seconds, or if you go down the river a little bit, it's not as rough, or it fits your temperament. But if that's all you see, if that's all you know, then yeah, you know what I mean. It's like if I don't like big crowds, why would I go to a mega church? But that's what you know what I mean. And just getting back to the gossip thing, for me, I feel like it's dramatized more so than it actually is. I'm not saying it's not a problem. The church as a whole has many problems. It just depends on which one you go to, essentially. But I just think when you watch it in the movies and you see it on commercials or you see it anywhere on media, it's drama. When you see the comedy skits on Instagram, it's dramatized to make it funny and witty, but you don't realize that sticks in your head. And for someone who doesn't go to church, maybe when it was like only on Easter and Mother's Day or something, Like that's all you know. That's all you see, and you see old ladies talking like, oh, they must be talking. Like, no, you haven't given it a try. You know what I mean? You just see what the media tells you church is, and church can be a wonderful place. It can be a boring place. It can be a headache sometimes. It can be all that. But so can your job. That don't stop you from working. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? So that's where I come from with that. But we are close to time, gentlemen. So we gonna have final thoughts on snitching, gossiping, church, culture, all that. Go.
Wait, don't
So
we got 10
fast.
minutes? Dang.
This is why we're live.
Oh man, I don't know. Like, are you ready?
Okay, I'll take my little soapbox stand. All right, America, snitch with love in your heart. All right, if you don't
That's gonna go viral.
snitch with love.
Snitch with love in your heart.
If you do anything, do it for the Lord. But snitch with love in your heart. Don't talk about people just to bring them down. Don't talk about people just to make yourself feel big. You're already big enough inside your own head. Your ego takes care of all of that, America. But snitch with love in your heart. If you're going to talk about what people are doing, do it so that you can help people, to uplift people, to get people to acknowledge or work on an issue. But like Tayron said, do it biblically. You know, go first, approach a person about the issue one-on-one, then bring your brother, and then if that doesn't work, bring the church into it. You know, we are all people. We all fall short. We are all imperfect people. But if you're not doing it with love in your heart, why are we doing it at all?
Snitch with love. So, Church Mind Matter, we coming out with a shirt, right? Snitch
with love in your heart.
With love in your heart.
Snitch with love. No, you're right. Snitch with love. Keep it simple. Yo, I'm wearing it.
If you sign up for our Patreon account, you will be the first ones to have it. Snitch with love.
Yo.
Wow.
Yo, I will wear it tomorrow. I promise you.
Sounds like a t-shirt in the making. Yes, yes. I don't even know. I mean, yeah, snitch with love.
That sums it up, right?
That's all I gotta say. I'm done. You got it. Snitch with love. Yup. I'm not nothing you gonna say gonna beat that.
Yo.
So you can say whatever you want. I don't care. I don't care. That wins. Ding ding. Like you win. Snitch with love.
Love a snitch. I don't know.
Love a snitch and snitch with love. Takashi 6ix9ine on the
I don't know, but that did take the cake.
How do you follow that, Kevin? All right, thank you.
Snitch with love.
Snitch with love.
Yeah. Snitch with love. That's all you can say.
Yo, that should have been the title for this.
Right. We need a thing on the bottom of the screen.
Love.
Snitch with love.
Oh man.
We'll leave it there.
Oh.
I guess we'll just leave it there.
All right, family. What? Alright. If y'all ain't know we was live, y'all know now. Yes. Snitch with love. Okay. Listen, if you guys want to support this ministry, if you guys want a t-shirt, Snitch with Love, all you gotta do is go to Patreon and type in Church Mind and Matter. There may be a little thing that comes along, a little ticket. If you go there for just as little as $2 a month as support for us, you get all type of benefits. You get one-on-one meetings. You get to know episodes before they happen. You get to know what's in the life of me and A Boogie. Maybe sometimes Ramon. You never know. Yeah. And you even get to just see what is in here after the fact. Like once the show is over and we got to break down and some of the conversations we have, all that.
Some of the best stuff is
it really is. You just don't know. And it starts at $2. It goes all the way up to $15, just depending on how much you would like to see us a month. And you also get one of these cool little, what do you call these things? Wristbands?
Yeah. We got some final comments though. Teresa Davis, yes, it can, but if we just stop looking at the people in the church and look at God, the church will grow.
Amen.
People will come together, and all the things you all said. Yep, snitch, but gotta go.
Peace out. Don't forget to snitch with love.
There we go.
Because we love a snitch. Don't forget, people, to like and share. If you like what you've heard, you want to hear more, make sure you put the notification bar on YouTube. It should be at the bottom right of your screen. If you're watching on live, you should be able to go to Amplify Network and just hit the like button and put for notifications. So anytime we do something, you'll be the first one to know, and you could be part of the Amplify squad. If you have any questions about Amplify, want to be a guest, want to contribute, want to help with our Declare campaign, feel free. Watch Amplify.com. Like us on Instagram. Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, 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 Yeah, Instagram, amplify.com, Pastor Tay 87, Instagram.
I am Ray Jackson, RAI Jackson, Instagram, Ramon Jackson on Facebook.
And if you have Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, any way you stream your music, Tidal, ew, who has Tidal?
Hey, come on, that's some folks who have Tidal.
All right, well, stop it.
There you go.
All right, don't do that. If you have Tidal,
don't down Jay like that.
look,
man.
I get it.
He's a billionaire. He doesn't need any more money.
Hey, we at the end. We are at the end. I'm talking. Y'all just got me out my shot now. Let me get back in it.
See how he treats us?
I just
Okay,
nah.
save it for the B-rolls. Finish up, please.
See what y'all get all this if y'all just go on Patreon. Y'all get the backstage access. But my man has a single out called
Breathe and Rock.
And you'll love it. I love it. Need more of it. Be sure to support. It's just Ray, R-A-I, because he got to be fancy and bougie. Jackson. Type that in. You'll see it. You'll love it. Download it. Stream it as many times as possible. Spread the word. Twitter. Church Mind Matter. We are on Twitter. Anything I'm missing?
Yeah, Encounter the Well. www.encounterthewell.org or Encounter the Well on both Instagram and Facebook.
That's it. Prayer. Monday to Friday. She's like, man, yeah.
Actually, can I say this?
Yes.
Cut it.
Joe, listen, follow the Amplify Network because there are so many things going on and we're really trying to build.
Yes.
We're trying to really build great programming all the way around the board. So follow the Amplify Network and then follow as well Church Mind and Matter on everything and Encounter the Well on everything. If you go to any of those pages, you will find any one of those places. Follow every last one of them. Hey, this is about us being brothers and sisters and promoting each other and showing love in a world that oftentimes shows too much hate. So just go to Amplify Network, Church Mind and Matter, Encounter the Well, and you will find either one of us. But let's impact the world by creating a movement. And that movement can be strong if you'll join with us. This isn't a us and y'all. This is a us. Make it a us movement.
We're all family here. So
That's
yes, let's all get together.
That's it. Shout out to Bizzle, Jared Sanders, Dayton, AI in the corner. Awesome concert. Got over money. Great. Yeah, so that's it, family. Church Mind and Matter, Amplify Network, 6 a.m. prayer. Peace and blessings. Love a snitch. Snitch with love. Deuces.
Peace.
Snitch with love. Yeah, that's
Snitch
a shirt.
with
Yo.